Welcome to Jake and Trev Review Everything Live.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Trev. And you're joining us now. It's another week. It's week 62.
62. Are you sure it's not 63? I feel like it's 63.
Unless we literally forgot to put the episode up on.
No, I put it up.
From the previous week where we did an episode. Last week we did not have an episode.
Last week was the day before Turkey Day.
The day before Turkey Day. And I had to go film a tum-tums with some Turks. But it was a nice little week off. But we're back. Here to talk about pretty much whatever.
Yeah, whatever. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is my dad needs to get Steam. I was just discussing it with
Mr. Silvis, I'm sorry. You really need to step forward here. And take advantage of this amazing, software, this wonderful gaming application that brings all kinds of... I was there with you. I resisted it for so long.
I was too.
I resisted it for so long. I was like, no, I got my consoles. I got my Xbox 360s. I got my Nintendo Wii's. I don't need your games. But the truth is, it's just terribly, terribly convenient.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got old games, it's got new games.
I sat out personally, I went from, in terms of consoles, I personally had as a person, I went from SNES to Xbox 360. That was the gap in consoles that I owned.
Well, you had your computer. I remember playing...
I had my computer. I had a computer, and I played some games on it. There's no question. But when it comes to consoles... But what I mean is that I actually sat out on, quite a bit of gaming's history in terms of a lot of games.
Yeah.
For, the PlayStations and your Dreamcasts. I got to play other people's systems and everything. But one of my favorite games that I played on other systems was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh, yeah.
I was able to...
Grove Street represent.
Grove Street. I was able to buy myself a copy, and a copy for my buddy over here, for pennies on the dollar. It was a ridiculous sale. I got it for super cheap. I could hardly afford not to hook my boy up. So and that's what's really cool, is being able to get in on all these games that you do remember. And now...
Yeah, I saw, specifically for my dad, they had a Abe's Odyssey, Abe's Exodus pack on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Both games.
You seem like a guy who'd like System Shock 2.
Oh,
System Shock 2 is available on Steam.
I actually, Justin sent me a copy of that.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. I haven't started playing it yet, but...
Yeah, Jake and I actually have all kinds of games in common on Steam.
That's true. But you can play with other people on Steam too, which is also nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's barely any reason not to. And there's also a thing called the Humble Bundle, which you can get a bunch. They switch up the games every couple weeks or every week or so, and most of those you can activate on Steam. And those you can buy a Humble Bundle for as little as $1.
Right.
And you get a whole bunch of games. And actually, the first one I got had a bunch of good games on it. But yeah, so totally worth it. To be honest, as far as consoles this generation, I'm still not completely sold on anything yet. Mm-hmm. If I had to, if somebody gave me the money and I had to buy a console, it'd probably be the PS4. But at this point, I'm thinking about squirreling away some ducats and possibly getting a good PC. So
yeah, you really kind of want to go in that direction. Yeah. And this is as I think I've said before, even in a recent episode.
I've really talked about Steam pretty heavily. We went the last episode, but
I definitely pulled a 360 on, or rather a 180.
360. You stand up where you are. Right back.
I pulled a 180 on PC gaming. The first thing I want to talk about is say hi to my mom and say hi to Jake's dad.
Say hi to my dad. It already happened. Let's see. So we got Kira. He said, "How goes it?" Hi, Jake's dad and Trev's mom.
See? Regular Kira to the show. He knows. He knows the rules. He knows the ways.
And your mom says hello to Jake and Trev and all of your friends and viewers. And my dad says, greetings and salutations, everyone. And in response to the Steam thing, he says, I'm over half a century old. I'm not good with some change. I'm not good with change.
You have to change, sir.
Changes.
It's just a fact of life. The second thing I want to talk about is big news out of Europe. The researchers at CERN have discovered.
Is that where they have the Large Hadron Collider?
That's correct. They've discovered a new particle that gives items worth. That's a lie. That never happened. There's no elementary particle that conveys value on things. But I was gonna tell that joke to Jake at the beginning, right before we started the episode, and he says, "Save it," because as I started going, "Did you hear about these scientists?" And save it. It's like, all right, I'll save it.
That's awesome. Actually, the biggest news, I mean, it's so tough. The biggest news that we should probably talk about, you probably know what I'm going to say. Force Unleashed trailer?
Yes.
Okay. Force Unleashed. The Awakening of the Force.
The Force Awakens.
The Force rises from its sleeping nap.
No naps, Force. But no, the Force Awakens trailer has the teaser trailer, I should say. There's not a lot there.
And yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, obviously it's going to be huge. This is the newest official live-action Star Wars movie since Episode 3, and that came out in, what, 2005?
Mm-hmm.
It was 2005, 2006, or 2004. In there.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. And that was it. Like, that was the last Star Wars movie, canonical, numbered Star Wars movie. So,
and it was the last one we were going to ever get because, you know, I mean, the numbers...
George Lucas was done.
George Lucas is done. He was tired of everybody telling him he was doing it wrong, even though he was obviously doing it
totally
wrong. He didn't want to hear it anymore. He didn't want anyone criticizing how he played with his toys, so he said he was done.
So he took his toys and went home. But that's the thing. I mean, you know, big news. Think about everything that's happened since then.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Disney, always been an ever-present media monolith.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing they do is buy a Marvel.
Right.
And that happened like 2009, I want to say. 2010.
Somewhere in there.
2010, somewhere around there. And that was huge. Because it was shortly after like the success of Iron Man. And so
some people were afraid that they were going to go in there
just
and
completely fuck everything
do whatever they wanted.
But they haven't. They've taken, I mean, since Disney
the
bought
cash
Marvel,
machine was already dispensing money. There
Yeah.
was no need to try to tune the machine up and fix it to make
Right.
it dispense more money.
And arguably, they may still fuck that up because they have so many movies on the docket. There's a really good I mean, I could go into all the points, but I'd basically just be regurgitating a cracked article I read a while ago. They did a really good job of explaining, like, here's why the Marvel movies are kind of steering in the wrong direction. They're losing a lot of their directors because they have such a tight schedule. They have to release when they, you know, setting a release date, any video game company can tell you, is always perilous.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have, like, I don't know, what is it, like 30 or 40, I mean, including all superhero movies included.
Sometimes the bread's not done, and no matter how much you want that tasty hot bread, no matter how much you want to slice it up, spread that butter around, it's not done. It's not ready. It's not bread yet, and it's not going to be bread yet. And, you know,
no matter how much you want it to be bread.
And, you know, you could say, well, I told everyone that there was going to be bread at 4 o'clock today, and it is 4 o'clock.
Like, well, the bread's not finished.
You're going to have to wait until 4:30. No, we're going to take it out, and we're going to cut it up now, and we're going to serve it.
You can't fire the person making the bread and hire another person to continue making the bread thinking that the bread's going to get made earlier.
I don't want my check 15 minutes ago.
I want my check.
I want my check now. I want my check 15 minutes ago. But you can't have it all the way. You have to wait until the movie's done. And that's the thing is that by setting such a rigid schedule going forward, I would have liked to have seen. I would have thought would be even better. Like so and so just at this point this year. Like during in this year this movie will come out, or even that's kind of getting too far. But when they have like the specific month and day that they have in mind for the release, it's kind of like
I feel like I feel like a lot of that also, like between. I mean, we still the only difference between
business.
now.
It's getting too big.
Well, the only difference between now and pre episode 1, or the only thing that wasn't different was that we still had Harry Knowles. But now everyone's Harry Knowles.
Mm-hmm.
So you have from Ain't It Cool News. He does a lot of like insider stories. He has a blog that basically talks about like behind the scenes stuff while movies are being produced and whatnot. But I mean, we didn't really have that like eagle eye on films. People would know about a movie maybe a year before it came out, right. And even then, it was very hush hush. They didn't, well, it wasn't even hush hush. People weren't digging for it, so it didn't have to be. Like occasionally, it'd be like, oh, like the traditional news media was in control of bringing you the information about a movie that was being produced. So, nobody was like, oh, I was on the, we were just on the set of Jurassic Park and somebody snapped a picture of the dinosaur with their smartphone and it's spreading all over the internet. And,
we've fundamentally changed the way that we talk about, movies and movie news and everything in the last 10 years. So, like, if you had showed what we're doing now to, like, someone 10, 20 years ago, I mean, it would be crazy.
Be like, well, that's the thing. I don't think that production of film has really changed fundamentally. I feel like the consumption of film has spread to include movie news in general. Like, that's part of the experience now. The talking about, like, oh, what do you think? Who do you think they're going to cast for this movie? Or, here's a leaked script of this movie that's in pre-production or whatever. It's all part of the experience now. It's not just, oh, there's a movie coming out, let's go watch it. It's there's a movie coming out, who's going to play this character? Who's going to play that character?
I'm getting my phone out because I had seen a confirmed cast list for a DC movie that's to come. That was
like
just
8 years from now.
No, it was the Suicide Squad, but it was but it was simply outrageous. The cast list was simply outrageous. I remember looking at it and going, "No way!"
It seemed kind of cool, actually. I was excited about that. But yeah, so that's what it is. So to have an official thing from, I mean, there's a number of reasons why everyone flipped their shit when this teaser came out. Is because it's the first official live action thing we've seen for Star Wars in many, many years. That's the other thing is, even when episodes 1 through 3 were being produced and news media started to pick up, the internet started to pick up on little tidbits here and there, it was still pretty much on lockdown. Like, Lucas wasn't letting any of that shit fly, so I mean, that's another big thing. It's
My God, it's correct. Like, this, like, gonzo fucking cast list that I saw is totally accurate.
Well, that's the other weird thing, too, is a lot of those movies, like, if you notice, a lot of the people that were cast for the Star Wars movie, there are a lot of, like, no-name people. And I'm sure they do well in their field, but it's a lot of, like, oh, this character from this TV show and nothing else. Or this person from this movie that they were in once and nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot of young faces, a lot of, and that's generally how movies are made, especially bigger movies. I mean, look at Jurassic Park, one of the biggest movies ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many of those people were stars before, and let's be honest, how many of those people were also stars afterwards?
It's true.
No. I mean,
Well, Sam Neill. Okay.
Event Horizon Sam Neill?
Event Horizon's own Sam Neill. Yeah, I don't know.
But for the teaser trailer, let's break it down.
Let's bring it on back.
What do you think?
Okay, so there's apparently a lot of it's going to take place on Tatooine. I don't think that's necessarily a mistake. That would basically now mean that all three of the parts of the trilogy, all three trilogies within this trilogy of trilogies, all start or have a good deal of their starting action take place on Tatooine. somehow Tatooine is this really important generational fucking planet, even though it's this backwater desert hellhole that's run by criminal organizations. The Empire doesn't even run things there. Never have.
Yeah, they make a point of
the Alliance didn't run things there beforehand.
No, they didn't. I mean, when they went there when they got young Anakin Skywalker there, it was just it was still a hive of scum and villainy, just like it was in Episode 4, and probably just like it will be in 7.
But I get the sense that they actually filmed things at some point. Somebody actually was standing on sand. You know what I mean? Like,
that's another important thing. Is a lot of the shots look very like modern CGI. Like obviously like the X-wings and the Millennium Falcon and everything like that. But then like you see like the soccer ball do 2D2 soccer 2D2
right,
and that looks like an actual set that they put CGI on instead of all of it being CGI.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, that's another thing, too.
So there's, things look lived in. Yeah. Everything doesn't look brand new and shiny.
There wasn't a whole lot besides, like, natural backdrops in the teaser. You have the desert, you have the spooky woods, you have a lake. Like, it's all very natural.
Right.
I don't know, I didn't hear about the Tatooine-centric, and I was trying to think about it while you were talking, and I feel like... Maybe.
Oh, so I was gonna say, like, but... do you just like start thinking about the next thing you're gonna say whenever I start talking?
Sometimes when you talk,
oh my God, no, no. But yeah, so John Boyega, who some rumors have circulated is essentially going to be the Luke Skywalker of this new trilogy.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
He's the stormtrooper in the beginning, John Boyega.
Awesome.
From Attack the Block. He was in Attack the Block.
I did not see the Attack the Block.
Well, you still have not seen Attack the Block?
I should.
The Block got attacked, bro. Where were you?
I
were you representing your set?
I was not on the block while it was being attacked.
Wolf Street. No, I mean it's not in Los Santos. It's in England. So, but. But, so he's allegedly going to be the main character, according to a lot of reports and rumors that are swirling around. But, yeah, so he was on Tatooine. Daisy Ridley was on Tatooine. And the Millennium Falcon, like, doing a barrel roll, all was on Tatooine as well. Roll. So, but then there's also a rumor going around that it's not actually Tatooine. It's just another planet that has a desert. Which, I guess at this point, wouldn't it seem a little silly if there was just another desert planet and it wasn't Tatooine at this point?
Well, let's be honest. If we
it would be more realistic, but I mean, it wouldn't...
If we wanted to break it down to its elements, having any planet that exists in the Star Wars universe that's elementally the same all the way around...
It's bullshit.
Like, yeah, there's no way. Like,
it's
Hoth
bullshit.
Is the ice planet.
All of it.
You know, Tatooine is the desert planet. I don't really
Dagobah's the Hoth planet. Or Dagobah's the swamp planet. Yeah. Endor is the forest planet.
Yeah. No,
as is Kashyyyk.
It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
Single biome planets.
Yeah. But okay, so that was cool. I know everyone was flipping their shit about John Boyega, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
About him being a stormtrooper, and a lot of people pointed out, well, Luke and Han wore stormtrooper outfits. It's not impossible to wear an outfit and not be a stormtrooper.
Right.
And even so, even if he was a stormtrooper, then, like, the clones would have died off in the Clone War.
Largely.
Yeah, like, that was a huge war. Like,
or in the 20 years that followed.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Yeah, 20 years later... Well, we're not even talking... We're talking about, like, 40 years. Now we're talking
about 40 years later.
Right. You're going to have a bunch of clones. I mean, like, the cloning process, if I recall correctly, wasn't, like, perfect.
Right.
So, even if, you know, like, weren't they, like, super aged? Don't you think that would have, like, done something? Let's assume that they just age like normal people from the age that they're accelerating.
Well, they accelerate the age, and then they arrest that somehow, but then they would still have to age.
Right.
at some normal rate.
So either they're 40 years older, or some weird clone gene kills
It's
them all,
listen,
or they all die in
I don't
war.
I don't mean to tell storytellers how to tell stories, but when it just seems that we can steal a line from Blade Runner here and say that the candle that burns brighter burns half as long.
Yeah.
And that by trying to create these clones that they can like super accelerate their growth, and then like they're all super soldiers basically.
Yeah, they're not gonna live
they're
forever.
not gonna have long lifespans.
No.
That's just the trade off that you get because there have to be to be limitations to the process.
Otherwise, you could just make clones of people
forever.
And have them live forever. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So obviously, like even if he was a stormtrooper, I don't understand.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
There's plenty of reasons why he might be a stormtrooper or be wearing a stormtrooper armor.
Yeah. The other thing.
Stamp period.
I mean, so nobody really talked about the soccer ball R2D2. I don't think that's actually R2D2 because there's a shit ton of R2 units.
Right. It's just a new like I don't know.
It can't be. It wouldn't be R2D2. They wouldn't change him that drastically just for the new movie. Shits and grins. There wouldn't be any reason to do that.
The lightsaber.
Yeah. Well, let me start off by saying that a lot of people made a lot of good points as to why that could work and could not work, and let me say that I think it looks really badass. I honestly okay. Lightsabers wouldn't work anyways. I mean, the lightsabers have been torn apart as part of like science fiction. And here's another thing: if you really think Star Wars is science fiction, then you don't understand what science fiction is.
Space opera.
Star Wars is science fantasy for a reason. There are a lot of things that just couldn't, like you can put a computer in the middle of something and say it'll work because there's a computer there.
Now George Lucas tried to turn it into science fiction in The Phantom Menace by trying to tell us that the reason for all the space magic was bacteria that live in your bloodstream. And then nobody ever talked about it again after that because it was a big embarrassing mistake.
Yeah. So lightsabers would not terminate if they were lasers. They wouldn't stop somewhere. Yeah, I get that there's the little pieces on the side, and it's like, well, if it was fighting with another lightsaber, it would like chop it or whatever. And
it would go down, and then
I was trying to think of when like a lightsaber hilt was ever cut by another lightsaber. Can you think of any?
It seems like a thing that I've either seen happen in one of the video games or in like.
It's not canon though. It's not canon anymore. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I feel like I've seen it somewhere too, but maybe not the movies. But that's that's the other. Or wait, was it? I think it might have been Darth Maul's lightsaber. But didn't that get cut in half?
It got
right
cut,
before he got cut in half.
Yeah, he lost half of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I suppose, but that doesn't make any sense either. Why would you have a sword? That would be like having a real sword and having the hilt be made out of Play-Doh. So as soon as it gets hit by another sword, it would just...
Right. So yeah, a plasma hilt or like a laser hilt kind of makes sense as a thing. I've also heard it kind of pitched to me as, what if this is an inexpertly made lightsaber? What if this is basically a process where somebody who doesn't know how to make lightsabers basically puzzled this out and it all worked except for he needed 2 extra vents to vent the plasma that's being created, which is too much. Because basically if he didn't have these 2 vents on the side, then basically it would eventually destabilize and like explode.
Yeah.
But because he's got these vents, it like shoots out at the sides a little bit, and then the blade can be more or less stable.
Yeah, I can see that too.
That's
although J.J. Abrams isn't gonna do he's not gonna explain anything.
No.
J.J. Abrams explaining things. So yeah, I don't know.
The mystery is more important than the answer.
Oh god. Well, the interesting thing to note is The Force Awakens. Like, they start the trailer with the guy...
side and the light.
Yeah. Like, so what are we talking about? With the title The Force Awakens...
It's Andy Serkis, by the way, speaking in the trailer.
Awesome. I did not know that.
A lot of people were speculating it was Benedict Cumberbatch. Bramblewood, Candor, Canderbander.
Borneo Candersnatch.
Bramblewood Canderbander. That's what I'm gonna call him from now on. No, but Bramblewood Canderbander was heavily speculated as being the voice, and I guess I sort of see it kind of sounds like him. But the thing is that they've pretty thoroughly announced their cast list for Star Wars
and that
at
would
this
have been
point.
a big get, you know.
Yeah, we all want him to be.
I think they weren't trying for gets though.
No, they
that's
weren't.
another thing. I think they were looking.
Well,
for
they
people...
were, but they were trying to do something similar to what they did the first time around, where they picked a few talented people who were on the way up, who kind of like John Boyega. He was actually pretty good in
Attack the Block.
In Attack the Block, and
but yeah, they had Natalie Portman. They had Liam Neeson.
I mean, yeah, think about how much Natalie Portman's gone on to. Sort of like the silver screen ablaze with numerous big roles where got people's critical acclaim attention.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, I mean that's definitely a big deal. I think that I think that there's a lot to be hopeful for. I don't mean to just be cheeky and say that this Star Wars trailer gives me a new hope, but it definitely. Is cause for some positive, expectations. I think I don't want to get burned again, but
for me, again, I feel like it's part of the experience now. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, I didn't take anything away from it. They had the Millennium Falcon, which they had a Stormtrooper outfit, which they had a crazy bad guy with sweet lightsaber. I feel like that's just a trend since Episode 1 is like, what kind of crazy shit can we do with lightsaber?
I do really like that they're trying out this, like, instead of like a katana or like a saber style sword, it's like a broadsword style sword.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Pretty neat. Yeah. Pretty neat. I like other light weapons and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question. I know you've all okay.
Hit up the chat.
Sure.
Here.
I mean, they're just here watching us. I mean, I guess we can listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, we'll roll back around because Kira has the thing about Suicide Squad here, but my dad said they wanted to come full circle again with sand in their shorts.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, they did.
Let's see. I wonder if anybody will end up at Tashi Station.
Taking some power converters? Please deliver on the power converters.
Yeah, somebody needs to pick those up. Maybe that could be the joke. Like, Luke is on the planet for some reason, and he goes in, and then he and, like...
there's some
somebody's
business
like,
I've
would you
been
be
meaning
interested?
to take...
Like the shopkeeper's like, would you be interested in some power converters? And Han and Luke kind of, no. Something like that. That'd be funny. They have to call back to
or Luke's been lost on the wilderness of Tatooine for some time, and then they go and try to find him, and he says, I've been deep in Force meditation, but there's one more thing I have to take care of before I leave planet.
Picks up some power.
Goes to Tashi Station, picks up power converters.
Kira Kenny says it happened in Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan cut Maul's saber. Yeah. So that happened. And then my dad says, midi-chlorians are like Planet Zeist and Highlander. And oops.
Whoops.
Big oops. Whoops.
Now, the other question concerning Star Wars, though, is have you seen the George Lucas special edition of The Force Awakens trailer?
No. Okay, what is that one?
Go to YouTube. You can play along at home, gang. Open up.
Let's pull it up here.
We'll do a Jake and Trev watch. We're gonna go to YouTube, gang, and we're going to search in the YouTube window, Jake and Trev. Or no, I'm so used to telling you guys to search our shit.
We'll do that later, but
do that later. No, but search George Lucas, or Star Wars Force Awakens George Lucas Special Edition, something along those lines. You're savvy internet people. You know how to search for things.
See if we didn't tank the stream here. Alright. The internet's being a little wonky.
Yeah, our internet's being a little...
Episode 7 trailer, George Lucas's special edition.
Oh, it's beautiful, Jake.
Oh, God. Should we... we'll wait a couple minutes. We'll all watch it together.
Yeah, we'll try to preload it a little bit.
Oh.
Watch.
Well, we might not be able to do that. What? because we have the mic right here, so might not be able to do that.
Oh no.
Well, I'm sure we get. It is the same effect if you just watch it without the sound.
You do more or less get the same effect. The
I think I get the gist of the joke.
I'll say that the jokes in this are definitely more of a visual nature.
That's
Star Wars.
when you said George Lucas Special Edition.
So the name of the video is Star Wars Episode 7 Trailer George Lucas Special Edition. What's the channel, Jake?
This is Tim Fed.
Tim Fed. Tim Fed. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh no.
No, did somebody pull it? I hope not. It's probably just the internet, to be honest.
Yeah, just as a heads up, our internet in our area is reputedly.
Yeah, there's no way. We're still recording it.
Pretty dubious right now. So
Yeah.
we might not get to a chance to watch it right
yeah,
now, but you should watch it at some point after the show. Somebody has perfectly skewered exactly what this would look like if George Lucas was still at the helm.
It's the special edition.
It's the special edition. No, it's perfect. Okay, so switching gears.
So we were talking about Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, yeah.
Kara Kennedy says, he says,
Gonzo.
I'm interested in seeing Will Smith play Deadshot. I don't think he's ever played a villain before.
Right, okay, so listen to this. Jared Leto has been cast as the Joker.
Which is fine with me.
Officially.
I will give, at this point, I feel like I don't want to ever make the same mistake that so many people have before. Like, it's the same complaint every time. Why is this person playing this? It's always the script. It has to be, like...
Tom
script
Hardy.
and director are so important for actors to function properly. And obviously, Nolan and, what's his face? The last Joker.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, Heath Ledger. I mean, like, the script, Heath Ledger, Christopher Nolan, it made everything happen. Now, obviously, Heath Ledger could have been a terrible Joker had it been, like, a different movie with a different director. So I leave all reservations at the door when it comes to casting, but you can still imagine, like, based on the works of what people have done before, like, what it would be like. And yeah, Will Smith as Deadshot, that is a really... When I saw that, I was like, wait, are we thinking of the same Will Smith here?
That's what I mean. It's just so out of left field. So yeah, Jared Leto as the Joker, Tom Hardy as Rick Flag Jr. or Flag, as he's also just commonly known. Yeah. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. I guess this is something people have been asking for a long time.
Oh yeah,
there's so many Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn's such a big
But Will Smith as Deadshot.
I could see it. Well, here, look, I haven't seen much more than a few scenes in the trailer, but Kick-Ass 2, you had Jim Carrey, like, play this, like, vigilante-type character, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like, given the right direction, given the right circumstances, like, kind of like a cocky... I don't know. If Will Smith plays Will Smith like Will Smith usually does... then it could be kind of shitty. But if Will Smith actually, like, tries to play
comic writer
not Will Smith.
Comic writer Gail Simone says, wait, Will Smith as Deadshot? That's a surprise on Twitter.
Yeah.
Jeff Yang replies, Will Smith as Deadshot? Marvel is voguing down the catwalk. DC is making random flailing gestures and then tripping and falling into the audience. Jeff Yang further states, note, I'm not bugged that Will Smith is Deadshot because Will Smith is black.
All right.
I'm bugged because Will Smith is Will Smith. But there, and there's probably going to be a few more members of the crew that are going to be kind of less big names. But I mean, that's huge. I guess I'm kind of surprised that they're actually going to try to introduce the Joker into this new DC movie universe, not in a Batman film.
Not specifically in Batman versus Superman.
Right.
Because in what was it, the Dark Knight Returns, that was kind of Batman versus Superman right there.
Pretty much.
So like the Joker played a big part in that storyline. So yeah, to not have the Joker there, I mean, you're gonna have Lex Luthor in it, played by Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah. So that, you know.
But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see where they're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
I'm excited, but also like surprised. Like if this was an episode that I was editing, I'd have like a little Metal Gear Solid exclamation point come up by my head.
Yeah. So it's, but that's always my thing is that you really have to. You have to wait. You know, like you really have to. There are some things which just don't make sense, and you can kind of predict where it's going to go. Like Will Smith, like I said, if this is a well written script, if there's a good director, if Will Smith cannot be Will Smith and be his character, then I could see it. You know, I mean, okay, look at
Floyd Lawton.
I could see, like Collateral. Remember Tom Cruise in Collateral?
Oh yeah, Transcendent.
No, I don't remember Tom Cruise in Collateral.
Right.
That's the important part.
Because he disappeared into the movie.
Yeah, and he was just that crazy, like, hitman guy. It was not Tom Cruise anymore. And that's the kind of acting that I feel like Will Smith could pull off.
Could tap into for this.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, here's the negative. It seems like a little desperate that Will Smith is trying to get in on this Marvel DC comic book movie train, and is taking, which, hold on, actually, can I just, like, I'm gonna take a side route in my own, like, aside.
Okay.
Double aside.
Doubling back.
It's really weird how much, like, play Deadshot has gotten as a character, I feel, in the last 5 to 10 years.
Well, he was in... the last thing I remember him in was Arkham City.
He was in Arkham City. He has frequently been used in the Arrow TV show. Okay. And on the Suicide Squad in the Arrow TV show, which is going to end up being where a lot of people got their first introduction to the concept of the... Well, maybe not a lot of people. This is the CW we're talking about. But
a fair amount of CW watchers got their start.
All this hate for CW. What's that about?
I don't hate them. It's just... I feel like they try to do too much with too little. Sometimes, like they have big ideas, which is important. You know, like obviously they've gotten away with it, and for the most part, it's worked for them. But I feel like when it falls flat hard. When it's like, all right, obviously you were trying for something like on a much wider scope than what you're capable of.
But yeah, so and then he's been used in. There was also like recently a Suicide Squad. Animated movie that DC did. Yeah. And he's in that. So he's like kind of like a very like core member of the Suicide Squad because he's like you know, he's sort of a bullseye character over at DC.
He's DC's bullseye.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know which one came first, but
it's the same thing. They don't miss. That's their assassins that don't miss.
Yeah.
And they can use all kinds of different types of weapons to do their doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, but going back, I'm just kind of shocked that I guess I wouldn't call him like a third tier villain, Deadshot, but like aside from people who are up on their stuff, like who even knows how many people really even know who Deadshot is? So like, you know, you see Jared Leto as the Joker. Big name, makes sense. Will Smith as Deadshot. It just like, you know, I'm just surprised that I don't mean to say
role.
He settled, but he settled for Deadshot. You know what I mean?
I don't think he settled. I see what you're getting at. I feel like it's weird that he's playing such a tertiary character.
Right.
Like Will Smith, well, that's the other thing, though. Will Smith has burned off a lot of goodwill that he's gained over the years. Yeah, I mean, what were the last few movies that he was in? Hitch was probably the last big movie he was in. Or not Hitch.
What about the Super Smash hit After Earth?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. After Earth was a stinker.
Oh my goodness.
But no, not Hitch. What was the other one? Hitchcock?
Cypher Ridge.
Hancock.
Yes.
Yeah, Hancock he was in, and that was almost a superhero movie. And then it took this weird turn in the third act that didn't make any fucking sense. Like the rest of the movie was like working up to be something really good. Like, oh, he's a superhero, but he's really shitty. Like, he's a person with superpowers, but he's not a hero. And they played that up really good, and the laughs were all right. And then, yeah, by the third act, it's like, you don't even know, like, somebody scrawled this on a napkin, like, how are we going to finish this movie? I was just like, oh, yeah. Then there were gods and some, I don't know.
Some things. And Charlize Theron.
Well, looks like we got Josh Rhinus in the chat with us. He says butts and things. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, question, now that No Shavember is over, when do you boys plan on shaving? To be honest,
My wife has instituted a follow-up month to No Shave November, which is Don't Shave December. And follows that is Just Let It Grow January. Follows that is Furry Face February.
Wow, it's just all.
My wife wants me to grow a beard forever. Is what this is all leading to.
I can't remember the last time I shaved. I think I trimmed a while ago, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't really shave that often. Maybe like once or twice a year. That's about it.
Might as just.
I get carded if I don't have a beard, so.
Might as well just throw your razor away, March. Are you getting what's going on with this, April?
Yeah. I may.
Anyway.
Yeah, so... we did have a question from your ma'am.
From my ma'am?
From me, Mom.
From me, Mum.
Me, Mum. I believe it was what good movies are coming out in December. Well, here's the thing. If you're familiar with movie schedules throughout the year, December is usually like when they drop the drama movies. It's usually a shitty action movie, probably a pretty popular kids movie, and then all the rest are dramas.
A lot of dramas, some Christmas movies that they've had in the vault for as much as like 13 months.
Yeah.
You know, that's been in like the studio vault already, like ready to go out into the theaters, but they.
If you see, yeah,
you cannot sell a Christmas movie when it's not Christmas.
Right. Well, if you see, this is the time of year where you're going to see movie posters that have quotes that are parenthesed by fig leaves.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or by olive branches. Like it's gonna be all like this movie here, for instance, Leviathan. I don't know what that's about, but I can already see it looks like it has like a Cannes Film Festival award, like like all those different ones. Let's see. So, Into the Woods is coming out.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Into the Woods is, it's basically Disney can't get enough of mashing up their fairy tales together in Once Upon a Time, and now it's spilling into the theater as well.
Yeah. What else? There's a Seth Rogen, James Franco movie, which will inevitably be a huge hit. Even if it's critically panned, people will go to see that.
They have sex on this one.
Oh, do they?
No, I just made that up, but I think that's doesn't that seem like that would be a thing that they do in one of these eventually?
All right.
They have a bromance, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
There's a new Night at the Museum. The Hobbit. That's another big one. It's the final one. The Battle of Evermore, I imagine, is what it's called.
The Battle of Evermore. That's funny. The battle to pry another $7 to $15 out of your wallet so that you can see 3 movies instead of 2.
They don't really. They're not. Apparently, there's not a very good filter on this because there's a Nick Cage movie and a Carmen Electra movie called Lap Dance. I don't think they're counting the big ones here.
Charming.
There is a Tinkerbell movie called A Legend of the Never Beast. It's probably going to be like a limited release.
Annie.
Yeah, Annie. And not to be super controversial, although, yeah, I mean it is. I don't have a problem with Annie and Daddy Warbucks being black. I have never.
I do. I'm just kidding. I don't.
I've never.
I don't, and more to the point, if I did, I wouldn't like try to make a big thing of it because it's like, how do you even start a conversation like that? But no, it's.
I think that's wrong.
These are timeless characters that they've.
Oh yeah, but no. The funny thing is that they're doing like a clothing collection at certain stores, and they have it's mostly white girls.
Yeah, and in fact,
like the
one of them,
material?
right? And in fact, in the promotional material, the girl who's wearing the Annie dress and the Annie like locket is a white girl.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was kind of funny.
Well, there are more than
if
one
you
girl
brought it
like
up,
modeling.
It's clear that Jake and I both go to the same national retail stores.
But you know, you don't know which one.
But you don't know which one. But yeah, so, and if you do know which one, don't say it. Don't say it. You just take that, just put it in your pocket, smile, because you know. Just smile because you know. But yeah. So I mean, I do.
It's
think,
mostly. Well,
I'm glad we have actually never talked about this. Like having the same experience. I thought it was funny because he went exactly where I thought he was going to go because that's where I went with it the first time I was looking at it. I was like, huh. So they went all the trouble of making this like and I hope this doesn't sound offensive, a black Annie. Right? With principals.
Actually, they did an SNL sketch about that.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. They had they had one of the actresses play like the original Annie, and then they brought in like a black Annie, and that was the whole joke.
Okay.
So it's been done by Saturday Night Live. So
but then they're in their advertising material to show off. All the clothing
that's tied to the movie, which is also weird in itself when you think about it.
Right.
Because how many movies are
right
like,
down to the Annie dress?
Like, it's for kids. It's a kids movie, so it's like, yeah, dress your kids up like this character from a movie that you haven't seen yet. That's weird. It's weird marketing.
I'm really surprised Disney is not selling children Elsa dresses.
Oh, they have them.
Oh.
Not like day to day. I'm sure at some point they'll be like, here are day to day clothes inspired by the movie Frozen that came out 5 fucking years ago.
They're already working on Frozen 2.
Why?
That's one that
if there's something
you know what
Disney
the problem
can do
is
very well, it's wring every cent out of a.
The problem is that they say. Then that's how the story ended, and everyone lived happily ever after, except for this other story that will also have a conflict, and we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, no, it's what were there, like 3 Aladdins? There were like 4 Lion Kings. There were like 4 Beauty and the Beast.
Wait,
what?
In the second one, Jafar came back, and he was a genie this time.
Oh yeah, I remember that. and in the second movie specifically, they had damn it, I can't remember the actor's name. Al Bundy from Married with Children.
Ed O'Neill?
Ed O'Neill did the voice of the genie in the second movie, and I think Robin Williams came back for the third movie, actually.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing.
Yeah, so which was weird, but, you know, what else? Not Lion King. Yeah. The internet's still being slow.
Lumino City.
What? Oh no! Yeah. Oh, I get it. That's a pun.
This is luminosity.
Yeah. It's good. That's a pretty good pun.
Mm-hmm. Oh. It works on a lot of levels. Lumino City.
It works on that one level.
Oh. Just the one, huh?
Oh man. So I'm trying to think. There was so shout out to Kira. He has put out the 3rd episode of his reboot vlog.
Hey, big news in Reboot.
Oh yeah, they're rebooting Reboot.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. No, they're going to have a continuation series, I guess.
Which is cool. I mean, like, now that they have like better technology than 20 years ago.
Do you remember how the Reboot series ended?
Bad
news, Kira. I'm going to spoil how the whole series ends on our show
tonight. There was like a million seasons of that show, and then at one point there was like Bob
isn't
with
that
like
a Canadian
an eye
show?
patch.
Isn't that a Canadian show?
The Reboot? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Like Like, I'm sure he's
Well,
already...
that's one of
He's
the...
furiously typing this, like... Of
It
course it is. That's why I know.
Well, that's another. I'm sure we brought it up on the live show before, but that's one of the interesting things about Canadian broadcasting is like it has to be a specific amount of Canadian produced
Content.
like radio, TV, movies, which is interesting.
Well, they're not about to let America bowl over their popular culture.
Well, quite the opposite. I mean, a lot of stars across the board have
like
come
Dan
from
Aykroyd.
Canada.
He's a national treasure. A Canadian national treasure.
Oh, man.
He's from Canada.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, he fights ghosts for a living.
That is true.
That is also
that is,
true.
We're not referring. We're not
I'm not talking
referencing
about
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. He's a paranormal
man.
man. He's a paranormal man. His father was one.
Yeah.
Who you gonna call? Dan Aykroyd.
Because he's a Ghostbuster.
Hey, we should write... Because, like Bill Murray did Zombieland, where he was himself in, like, an unlikely situation. We should do a movie where like...
The whole thing is so we can have a cameo.
From Dan Aykroyd, as Dan Aykroyd, helping us with a paranormal situation. That'll be the whole point of this entire production. We'll write everything else around getting Dan Aykroyd in there.
No, what we'll do is...
Danny!
Dan Aykroyd, we know you watched the show.
I forgive you for Blues Brothers 2000. That's the first step. The second step is accepting a role in the Jake and Trev movie. Featuring Dan Aykroyd.
It'll be called Jake and Trev versus Scary Ghosts.
Jake and Trev versus Scary Ghosts. The movie.
It'll be great.
2020.
2020. Mark the date on your calendar.
I'm just going to go ahead. August 23rd, 2020. The Jake and Trev versus Spooky Monsters. The movie. The game. The movie.
Yeah. We're going to do a video game. Actually, that's funny. Before we did the live show here, we were watching a movie for a series that I'm working on right now. If you haven't seen my advertisement.
His advertisement.
I'm doing a series for December. Hopefully I'll have a few episodes out in December. But it's called the 12 Fists of Kick-Assmas. And you don't know about Kick-Assmas, so it could be a holiday that stretches through January.
What? All misses? All X, like not Xmas, but like X is a placeholder miss? All Xmas's have to end in December?
Yeah.
That's bullshit, and you're racist for thinking that.
Whoa!
Sorry, I got a little carried away there again.
But so in that the 12 Fists of Kick-Assmas, we were watching a movie before this that's called Expect No Mercy, and it is a real piece of work.
It's set entirely in the Cobra Kai dojo.
Right? There is no mercy in this dojo?
No, sensei!
But yeah, so
Billy Blanks.
We were Billy Blanks, Jalal Murray, like just a bunch of really like guys from movies that you've never heard of, but they were big back in the day. And there was apparently a video game based off of this movie. This is a movie that I found in a VHS bargain bin. And I was thinking, all right, I watched it a while ago by myself. It was pretty hilarious, but and then doing the research while we were watching it earlier, there was a video game based on the movie.
Yeah. I want you guys to know the kind of caliber of show we're talking about here too. There was this exchange during an action scene. Billy Blanks comes onto the scene and like tries to take a shot at the other guy, and he's like, "Nice place you got here." And then the other guy like recovers and like takes a shot back at him, and he's like, "It's a nice place to die."
Yeah. Like,
so that's the kind of
real clever guys.
That's the kind of thing that we're dealing with here.
It looks like the cover looks like a VR Troopers cover.
Right, and then they in the video games like opening sequence they reuse like computer animated flyover sequences right from the movie.
Yeah.
Almost where like I have to like and for how much the movie has to do, the rest of it has to do with that. like flyover thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it was made for the game, and then like they were like, that looks really good. Let's just put that right in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like it's there has to be like there was probably something like maybe they had created assets for a video game that were used in the movie, or maybe they created the assets for the movie, realized they could make a game out of it, and Jalal Murray, who is the producer of the movie as well, was probably like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that they were made kind of like to coincide with each other's release, of course, like things often were.
It's very weird, kind of like what was it? The we did a review of it. I'm like just.
You're the worst tonight.
I guess no, the other video game based
arcade.
Movie. No, it was the other one though.
Oh, Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, that was made to promote a game that wasn't even out.
Right.
When it came out, so. Like it's weird, especially in this instance. Though I feel like in that instance it was a little bigger budget movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like they tried to market it towards kids with the movie, but then obviously it took the dark turn. If you haven't seen our review of Cloak and Dagger, you should definitely watch that because it's fucked up.
Or if you're a Dabney Coleman fan, you're definitely gonna want to take a look.
I just don't like it.
From Drexel's class.
But yeah, it's in this case it's even more confusing. Because they do try to do like the Mortal Kombat, they have the actors that probably played the characters in the movie. It's a Mortal Kombat ripoff because there are finishing moves. I think the movie came out in like 93 and the game came out in like 94. Mm-hmm. So sometime after Mortal Kombat. Probably right around that time when it was kind of picking up. People were trying to make clones of it. Killer Instinct, Pit Fighter.
Oh, Pit Fighter's the worst.
I really like the arcade game, but the console game is terrible.
Like, why was that even fun?
Like the Clay Fighters.
Be the Elvis Presley guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Blue Suede Goo.
Blue Suede Goo, yeah, because they all had puns based on the fact that they were made out of clay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was very funny.
Like Cassius Clay.
It was very funny stuff.
Glacius Clay, or whatever his name was. Let's check out the chat here. We got about 5 minutes left here, so let's see. Kira Kennedy says I really should bring up the reboot in the next reboot vlog. It's a lot of reboot.
That's a lot of reboots. You should reboot your reboot review series to coincide with the reboot, so you can reboot while they reboot.
Yo, dog.
Yo, dog.
Your mom says the Doctor Who scarf is now completed and ready for said wearer.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
I might have a fly new accessory on the next J&TRE review. Everything live.
Is that a Tom Baker?
It's a Tom Baker scarf.
Ooh.
In all its glory.
Classy.
It's the longest scarf you've ever seen.
Wow. Is it an infinity scarf?
I found the design for the longer one. Because there's like shorter versions of it and longer ones. The longest Tom Baker scarf was about 20 feet long.
Good Lord. Wait,
this is not 20 feet.
Are you rescuing children from wells with your scarf?
Funny enough, you can. And again, you might want to look this up after the program. You can find compilations of all the times he tried to use his scarf to do other things with than be a scarf. Spoiler alert, it almost never works out very well. Because it's a scarf and not anything else.
It's not, it's not a length of rope.
No matter how much you wanted it to be. God bless Tom Baker.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So we got that.
I want to talk to you about this a little bit.
Yeah.
In Humanity, this is a book that Jacob picked up here recently. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a fairly recent Marvel series.
It came out like last year.
About the Inhumans.
I was surprised. I found that at Goodwill.
And in fact, they've had a couple of big Inhuman events recently in the comic books, and now that's going to start getting reflected outside of the comic book continuity as well. And here's the thing: they haven't revealed it yet. Well, actually, they might have. I haven't seen the new episode of Marvel's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet. So it could be that they've already discussed that. We've already know this now, but I don't know it yet. But they've hinted, and there's been a lot of speculation that Kyle MacLachlan and Skye from Agents of Shield are in fact Inhumans who haven't had their powers activated via Terrigenesis.
Oh yeah, the Terrigen Mists.
Mm-hmm. And then of course the Inhumans is on the Marvel movie docket for much later.
There's a good chance they'll probably introduce them beforehand.
One would think.
Maybe because Guardians of the Galaxy 2 comes out before that, doesn't it?
Yes.
So they'll probably have a tie-in there. I feel like they're doing what Marvel Comics does, which is like they have like their space opera of their own, and then they have like their Earth stuff. So because when Civil War was going on, that was the same time that Annihilation was going on.
Yep.
So those are both two huge storylines at the same time. I
think they really want to tell the Annihilation storyline in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Not Guardians of the Galaxy #2. I know that they want to do that story. James Gunn has talked about it in doing a Guardians of the Galaxy movie dealing with Annihilation.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So the Inhumans, they're a group of characters in the Marvel Universe that you should know about because it's going to become more important as time goes on. Some folks, myself included, speculate that Marvel is going to de-emphasize mutants and start to more highly emphasize, as they have been, the Inhumans.
Well, they kind of have to. Their hands are tied as far as that's concerned. And I mean, the mutants are a huge part of the Marvel Universe. They're inextricably tied to everything else.
It's just interesting that the financials of outside the actual comic universe is starting to so heavily affect the direction of things because mutants have been the darling of Marvel for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've had the Inhumans, and they can be so analogies for each other. They're kind of interchangeable in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had up to this point chosen Marvel had so solidly chosen mutants, and now for outside of the comic books decisions, they're starting to re-emphasize the Inhumans.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. And that was another thing we didn't really get to talk about was the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
If we're not playing video games or anything, but we're at an hour here.
So I think we're gonna call it at that. Thanks for joining us again on a lovely Wednesday evening. We're always happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have anything you'd like us to talk about on Jake and Trevor Review Everything Live, don't forget to hit us up in the comments, either on the Facebook page. You can send them to our email at jakeandtrevorrevieweverything@gmail.com. Among others.
Send your friends over.
We love to hear from you.
So share what you can. Obviously the internet's a sharing place. So
share, like, and comment.
The best thing that you can do, if you enjoy watching the show, if you enjoy watching it live or recorded, is subscribe, like, share, do all that stuff. That's that's the best way to show us that you like us.
Show us that you care. All right. For Jake and Trevor Review Everything Live, I'm Trev.
I'm Jake.
And thanks for watching, you guys.